Hi everyone, it's Sam, NFTstatistics, and this is your proof daily NFT countdown. We are back, everybody. Let's go. More than $1 million of art block sales, Fidenza floor above 80 ETH, some strength in Opepen, some crazy Opepen sales. We're going to talk about all that. Let's get right into it, starting off with a quick market overview. Volumes were down a small bit versus over the weekend. Probably a good thing because over the weekend it was just a bunch of people dumping into Blur bids. In terms of market share, we had about 60% market share with Blur, about 22% market share, 23% market share with OpenSea. Large cap PFP index was down a touch. So this strength has really been concentrated in art blocks and a bit more in the Jack Butcher ecosystem. Looking at large cap components of the PFP index, Doodles up a small bit, Captains were a bit weak. Mid-cap index continued to rise, led by some strength in quirkies, but also O&1 Force continued its rally. Looking at that chart, you can see that O&1 Force is getting back above recent highs. Came out with an announcement yesterday, and what O&1 Force seems to be doing is really trying to find different ways to empower the community to help them with their goals. A couple of the examples, one is they have a franchise model where holders of an NFT can work with O&1 Force about how they can build out the IP of their specific NFT. That looks pretty cool. Also have this ambassador program where people who want to help O&1 Force with business development relationships, similar things to that, can work with a company. There's a process for that. And also a platform for building out kind of broader community organization events. So just a lot of things that these guys are doing with their new management. They brought in Decentraland and consultants who are clearly helping them out from Horizon Labs, just trying to find ways to take advantage of the big community that they have and see how the community can kind of build as much as possible. Mind the Gap by Mount Vesuvius, the Genesis piece from GM DAO, had a really nice rally. You can see it right here, went from about 0.7 ETH to 1.3 ETH. A lot were swept there, kind of in line with this art blocks theme in general. Let's look at this art blocks table. Okay, last week, we did a 100 proof where we're talking about art block volumes were dead. Every time I did this show, I'd say nothing was doing more than 5 ETH of volume. Well, yesterday we had 10 projects that did more than 25 ETH of volume. So just a ton of volume, a ton of trades going on in the space. Having a look at some of the biggest sales, you can see this Fidenza here sold for 370 ETH. This is a micro. The one that sold at the Sotheby's auction, I said it was a micro, it was a small. This is a micro. We have a fuzzy chromy squiggle for 16.7 ETH. Fuzzy squiggles were selling below 10 ETH just a couple weeks ago. A ringer here sold for 52.5 ETH. A gazers for about 15 ETH. So a lot of strength there. And then looking at some of the other, let's not stick to just the absolute top projects. We had a Meridian for 7.7, an Anticyclone for almost 10 ETH, an Archetype for 11.2, and this Hongbao Memories of Qilin by Emily Shi for 6 ETH. So just a lot of cool art, a lot of cool art blocks really kind of finding their rhythm again, a bunch of harvest sales as well. Second thing to talk about, and this is expanding on the first, is art blocks are back. I'm going to show you a couple of charts. And art blocks also came out with a bunch of just with a couple of announcements I wanted to talk about briefly here. First of all, this here is the floor price chart for art blocks. I include the 8 top collections in this. And you can see it went up 25% just in the past day or two. This is total value traded well over $1 million. Happened yesterday and more today. So, you can see that this is really the most that we've seen since the middle of March in terms of art blocks volumes. Obviously, this only includes on-chain, doesn't include the auctions. And then this is one thing I thought was kind of interesting. I've talked a lot about how WETH versus ETH, how many trades are sellers dumping into bids. That number got above 50% for nearly a month when you look at the overall average. Well, the number was down to below around 15%, below 15% of trades were people selling into bids. It was buyers picking the NFTs they want and buying those. So always good to see that. Is there any are we sure we're back? Well, a couple of things that I think could give you a little pause. One is when it comes to that floor price. Yes, the floor prices are up a ton, but if you look at the right, Fidenza's floor price is 86.5 ETH, but the bid is 47 ETH. The trades haven't been above 65 ETH. On ringers, the floor is 42, but the bid is only 28. So I think what we are seeing is a lot of that really lower price, those lower price NFTs are kind of the low end of the range, kind of got swept up yesterday, supply disappeared, and right now we're going to see a bit of a repricing, figure out where is the market really in this moment. What happens if we go through a little bit more illiquidity, where are those prices going to move? That will all be interesting to see. And the other thing is, clearly the 3 Arrow Capital auction, the Grails auction by Sotheby's, was a very positive catalyst. You get a sale over $1 million. People see that happen. People saw these things fly off the shelves. That's what fly off the shelves. And then there's just more momentum and interest in buying art blocks. Do remember that we still have, more than 3 months supply of Fidenzas, of Ringers, of Archetypes still in the market from 3 Arrow Capital that will get sold over the remainder of the year. So there is still a little bit of that supply overhang, but I don't think that's anything too crazy. None of these numbers are more than 3% of total supply for any of these collections. Other thing I wanted to mention was that Artblocks came out with this new announcement that they were launching a project or a product called Prohibition Art, which is built on the Artblocks engine, and it's going to be on Arbitrum. A little bit about it here is from their website. They say generative art for everyone. And kind of reading into this website, some of the things that they said, one is that there's going to be no curation board, no allow list, no mint passes. Anyone can create, curate, and collect generative art. All are encouraged to participate. So they want this for people who are just learning generative art. And then the next thing here they say is that there will be mentorship, tools, and tutorials to help artists succeed. Obviously on Arbitrum just makes every transaction so much more affordable, so much less kind of decay in the gas costs. And basically, I just think they're making a product here, keeping obviously art blocks where that curated collection is for the top artists. They have the curation board, really kind of showcasing the best in the technology and what's happening. But they also wanted something that was more experimental, where more people could get involved, build into being a better generative artist. And I think that that's what this product seeks to do. There are a lot of investors in this product that they're creating. You can see Snowfro, Devin Finzer, Andrew Jung from Curated. So a lot of really kind of well-known people are investing in this Prohibition product. Love to see that. Also, I did want to mention tomorrow's Artblocks Curated drop. Pretty interesting. And we'll talk about it after it happens. But this one does seem to be getting a little bit more buzz than some of the other ones I've seen. It is called Human Unreadable. It is by an artist called Operator. And here are the 2 first outputs. There are 400 outputs, but here are the first 2. And you can really see in the one on the right that there are feet involved. And there is a bit of a choreography component where it seems like they videoed individuals and that kind of went into the actual outputs. Pretty interesting stuff. Here you can see kind of the artist behind the computer, and then there are models who are making movements with their body. And I believe that actually went into the outputs that we are going to see tomorrow when this launches. Eli from Proof, our head of art, did a Proof interview, an artist spotlight with Operator, and I believe that's being released today. So check that out if you haven't yet seen it. A little bit about kind of some of the comments that I've heard. They say Operator makes machines dance. Be prepared to have your heart burst with the audacity of art and a generative and performance art display that takes us into uncharted territory. And these are all comments from the Curated board. So very cool to see that. The mint will be tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, I believe, 400 pieces called On-Chain Choreography is a component here, starting at 5 ETH, and the resting price will be at 0.16 ETH. Now, we haven't had a project really take off since the harvest. I think that was their last huge one. Cargo did reasonably well. We've had a couple others that have gotten a little bit of attention, but it'll be really interesting to see how this one does tomorrow. So looking forward to that. Second thing, Nifty Gateway made an announcement that Collector Appreciation Month is coming. It is a month-long celebration dedicated to the community of collectors. Looks like they are trying to do an airdrop, basically. And they talked about this airdrop, or they said rewards. So who knows what rewards means, but that collectors can earn rewards on the transactions they've done across primary and secondary sales. Basically how it's going to work is that collectors are going to fall into 6 buckets based on the amount of transactions they've done and their cumulative lifetime spend on Nifty Gateway. So the more you've spent there, the more you're going to get in whatever this reward is. There are about 9 more days left where the reward kind of tracking happens. So feel free to go do some trades on Nifty Gateway, and that will add to your reward. So always nice to see these companies giving back to the community, and always curious to see where that money gets deployed and if that could continue some of the mini bull run that we've had over the past couple of days. And then lastly, Blur announced that they have 2 new blend projects, Kampai Pandas as well as Redacted Remelios. I don't think these announcements move the needle too much, but we did see some movement on Kampai Pandas. They also said that they're going to be announcing a new project every single day this week, I believe. So we should expect more to come. And I think before too long, pretty much everything is going to be on Blend, or at least all of the major projects. Looking at how it moved prices, Redacted Remelio, you can see here, got a little bit of a boost. It's been a little bit weak just over the past week or so, in line with Milady, which has shown a little weakness kind of down below 4 ETH, but got a little bit of a bump yesterday. Now this one with Kampai Pandas, a little bit less savory, or I don't know, a little bit more suspicious. because there was a huge rally, which you can see in that arrow, about a 30 to 35% rally, but that happened the day before the announcement. And Kampai Pandas was really featured. Right now, their banner is on the Blur site. They did a Spaces. They actually have Kampai Pandas in the Blur logo. So maybe someone got wind of the idea that they were about to get promoted. But you can also see here that we're not at price levels that we haven't been to. We're kind of at levels that we were at just 3 weeks ago. So maybe someone just decided to sweep Kampai Pandas the day before this announcement and got lucky. Last thing to talk about, let's talk about a few notable sales. Starting off, let's just do a quick update on Jack Butcher's auction. This is gonna be final by the time you see this. In the last hour, you never know what's gonna happen. But currently on Christie's, these three pieces have bids somewhere between 11.5 and 15.7 ETH. So very curious to see where that finalizes. The other thing to talk about is these Opepen sales. Opepen just completely flew off the shelves today. Second time I've said flew off the shelves today. Happened again. But let's go. These were two of the biggest sales, one for 19 ETH on the right, one for 24.7 ETH on the left. The one on the left is a 1 of 10. The one on the right is a 1 of 40. There's another 1 of 40 that sold for 19 ETH. So really what I'm seeing happening is these 80 Opepens that are in the Jack Butcher, the ones that Jack Butcher kind of put his name on and designed, the first art to come out of the project, are really kind of starting to be seen as the grails of the project and actually just overall grails. So nice to see that. If you look at the floor, the cheapest from this is currently 25 ETH. The cheapest non-1 of 40 is 40 ETH. So just definitely something that's in swing right now. In terms of PFPs, we had a Hoodie Bandit Punk sell for 174 ETH. It does feel like the Hoodie range has just come down. It used to be between 200 and 250 ETH, and this is a pretty nice one. I think that Bandit mass makes it pretty interesting. But we see seeing a bunch of Hoodie sales kind of now in that 150 to 200 ETH range. And then one last sale I want to talk about, a new artist. I haven't talked about him before. Really cool piece. This piece is called Volumen. It's German, by Dirk. I think it just means volumes. He set sales for 2.5 ETH, for 5 ETH. You can see we also had one sale for 5.5 ETH. But this is an artist who I would really recommend just going to Super Rare. Check out Dirk. See his just see his work. It's very, very cool. A little bit more about him. He's an artist and a filmmaker. In his works, he experiments with everyday images and environments using analog and digital techniques, creates auto-visual works in which the viewer's perception is often challenged. And you definitely get that experience when you're looking at his work. I enjoyed digging into it this morning. I think you will too. That is all from me today. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, give us a like below, comment, tell us what you think, subscribe to the channel, and we'll be back tomorrow and every weekday with another show. Have a great day.